From the dawn of human history, our ancestors have left traces that speak to both ingenuity and mystery. Every artifact, every ruin, and every ancient record invites us into a world that is simultaneously familiar and unknowable. Across continents, civilizations rose and fell, leaving behind wonders that continue to defy modern understanding. Some of these traces, like the intricate carvings of early societies or the careful alignment of megalithic structures, suggest a knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering far beyond what we often assume. Others, like undeciphered scripts or anomalous artifacts, resist explanation, teasing the imagination with the possibility that human history holds secrets yet to be uncovered. In this quiet contemplation, we begin to sense the rhythm of time itself, where achievement, creativity, and mystery intertwine, encouraging a patient curiosity rather than urgent answers. From massive stone monuments to delicate artifacts, the past whispers its stories gently, reminding us that history is as much about wonder and reflection as it is about fact. As we embark on this exploration of 25 unbelievable ancient discoveries, the mind is invited to drift slowly across centuries, absorbing the echoes of civilizations long gone, yet still present through the objects and mysteries they left behind. Among the most captivating aspects of our ancient past are the civilizations that flourished and vanished, often leaving behind puzzles as enduring as their monuments. The Indus Valley Civilization, with its carefully planned cities, advanced drainage systems, and undeciphered script, reflects both remarkable sophistication and enduring mystery. Across the globe, the Olmecs created colossal stone heads whose construction remains perplexing, while the Minoans of Crete built palaces with plumbing, multiple stories, and vibrant frescoes, only to disappear suddenly. Even the Kingdom of Great Zimbabwe, with its towering stone walls, hints at expertise that seems almost modern, yet its decline leaves more questions than answers. These vanished civilizations invite reflection on human ambition, creativity, and the fragility of progress. Their achievements endure in stone, clay, and artifacts, yet the full stories remain elusive. In exploring these ancient societies, we encounter a delicate interplay of knowledge and enigma, a rhythm that encourages calm curiosity and allows the mind to wander across centuries, imagining lives, cultures, and innovations long gone, but still whispering their presence through time. Throughout history, entire civilizations have emerged, flourished, and vanished, leaving behind traces that both illuminate and mystify. The Indus Valley Civilization, for example, was once a sprawling urban society with streets laid out in meticulous grids, sophisticated drainage systems, and standardized weights and measures. Yet, despite its evident sophistication, much of its culture remains enigmatic. The script they left behind has not yet been fully deciphered, leaving scholars to piece together glimpses of their daily lives and societal structures. Walking in the shadow of these long-lost cities, one senses both the brilliance of human ingenuity and the fragility of human endeavor. These civilizations remind us that history is not a continuous narrative but a mosaic of fleeting brilliance, sometimes abruptly cut off, leaving behind only fragments for us to ponder. The Olmecs, inhabiting Mesoamerica thousands of years ago, present another tantalizing enigma. Known for their colossal stone heads, some weighing several tons, the Olmecs created monuments that dwarf the capabilities of many later societies. The purpose of these heads, their exact construction methods, and the full extent of Olmec influence remains subjects of speculation. Yet, the presence of these artifacts speaks to a culture capable of remarkable feats of artistry, engineering, and social organization. Standing before one of these massive heads in thought, it is easy to feel the weight not only of stone but of centuries of lost knowledge, as though the gaze of the past is silently meeting our own. Further east, the Minoans of Crete offer another glimpse into a civilization whose sophistication challenges modern assumptions about ancient life. Their palaces, most famously at Knossos, were complex structures with multiple stories, intricate plumbing systems, and elaborate frescoes depicting life, religion, and mythology. This was a society that valued aesthetics, technology, and organization in equal measure. Yet by around 1450 BCE, the Minoans had largely disappeared, possibly overwhelmed by natural disasters or external conquest. The suddenness of their decline leaves behind an alluring mystery, highlighting the contrast between the permanence of their creations and the impermanence of the people who built them. In these ruins, one can almost hear the echoes of a bustling culture that, while advanced, has been muted by the passage of time. Even in Africa, long before the more famous empires of later centuries, there existed cultures whose traces suggest remarkable organization and artistry. The Kingdom of Great Zimbabwe, with its towering stone walls, demonstrates an advanced understanding of masonry without the use of mortar, forming structures that have endured for centuries. These constructions, impressive in scale and precision, evoke questions about the society that conceived them. How did they manage labor, resources, and planning with the tools at their disposal? And why, despite their evident capability, did this kingdom decline into obscurity? The ruins of Great Zimbabwe, like the remains of many vanished civilizations, leave more questions than answers, inviting a quiet meditation on the impermanence of even the most ambitious human endeavors. Beyond physical structures, vanished civilizations often leave behind intriguing evidence in the form of artifacts that hint at cultural or technological sophistication beyond what we might expect. Consider the mysterious figurines, tools, and ornaments unearthed from sites like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. The precision and artistry in these small objects contrast sharply with the simplicity we might assume for societies thousands of years ago. Each artifact is a whisper from a distant time, hinting at beliefs, daily practices, and creative expression that remain largely hidden from modern eyes. These remnants allow us to reconstruct fragments of lives long past, while simultaneously confronting us with the vast unknown, the stories that have been lost with the passing centuries. The disappearance of civilizations often adds an additional layer of wonder. The reasons behind their decline are frequently as mysterious as their achievements. Was it environmental change, such as shifting rivers, climate events, or deforestation? Was it social upheaval, internal conflict, or external conquest? Or could it have been a combination of factors, layered in complexity, leaving us with only faint traces of the once vibrant societies? The answers, if they exist, are buried in layers of earth, stone, and history. Yet the absence of definitive explanations encourages imagination and reflection, allowing us to consider how delicate and fleeting human accomplishment can be, even when it reaches extraordinary heights. Some civilizations challenge our understanding of chronology and technology. The artifacts of the Olmecs and the engineering feats of the Indus Valley suggest a level of planning, mathematics, and skill that seems unexpectedly advanced for their time. Roads, canals, drainage systems, and even remnants of early mechanical devices point to a sophisticated understanding of the natural world and human organization. When we juxtapose these achievements against our own assumptions about ancient societies, we encounter a quiet, meditative wonder. We are reminded that progress is not always linear, that knowledge can emerge in surprising places, flourish briefly, and then fade, leaving only stones and tools as silent witnesses to human brilliance. Equally fascinating are the artistic expressions of vanished civilizations. Frescoes, carvings, and statues reveal a nuanced understanding of symbolism, spirituality, and human emotion. The Minoans, for instance, painted vibrant scenes of nature, religion, and daily life with an elegance that continues to inspire awe. Similarly, the small yet intricate figurines from the Indus Valley or the Olmecs suggest a culture deeply engaged with representation, ritual, and expression. These creations persist long after the people themselves have disappeared, bridging the gap between what was and what remains, between presence and absence. They are echoes of thought, feeling, and intention, preserved against the erosion of time. Perhaps what captivates most is the simultaneous clarity and ambiguity of these ancient civilizations. On one hand, their physical traces provide undeniable evidence of their existence, skill, and ambition. On the other, the gaps in our understanding, the missing records, the undeciphered scripts, the unknown construction methods, create a persistent, gentle tension between knowledge and mystery. This tension invites a slow, reflective curiosity, the kind that thrives in quiet hours when the mind is free to wander. It is in this space that the true magic of vanished civilizations is felt. The awareness that humanity has always been capable of extraordinary creativity and complexity, yet that so much remains hidden from our view. As we step back from these ruins, from the colossal stones of the Olmecs to the orderly streets of Mohenjo-daro, we begin to recognize a pattern that recurs across continents and eras. Human ambition, ingenuity, and creativity are constants, yet they exist within a fragile framework, vulnerable to forces beyond our control. The civilizations we explore offer not just knowledge about the past, but a mirror reflecting the transience of achievement and the enduring mystery of human life. In this gentle reflection, we are invited to linger, to imagine, and to drift into the whispers of history, where the past reaches softly toward the present, inviting contemplation rather than explanation. The vanished civilizations of our world remind us that history is not merely a sequence of dates and events, but a tapestry woven from triumph, mystery, and quiet wonder. Each discovery, each artifact, each ruin is a doorway into a past both intimate and unknowable. They speak of human brilliance, ambition, and creativity, yet also of the impermanence of all things. In contemplating them, we find a balance between fascination and tranquility, curiosity and calm, preparing us for the next chapter of ancient mysteries. Those objects and artifacts that, beyond the monuments and cities, challenge our understanding of what our ancestors truly knew and were capable of achieving. Across the world, scattered among the remnants of long-lost civilizations, lie objects that seem to defy logic, as if their creators had access to knowledge we can scarcely imagine. These artifacts, often small and unassuming in size, carry with them a weight far greater than their physical form. Some are intricately machined metal objects whose sophistication far exceeds the presumed technological abilities of their era. Others are tools and devices whose purpose, function, or mechanism remains entirely mysterious. In examining them, we encounter the delicate tension between what we can understand through modern science and what continues to elude explanation, a tension that invites a quiet, meditative curiosity rather than urgent solutions. The Baghdad Battery is one of the most evocative examples of such enigmatic artifacts. Discovered in modern-day Iraq, this clay vessel contains a copper cylinder and an iron rod, and some suggest it may have functioned as a primitive battery. Could it have been used to produce electricity for simple electroplating, or did it serve a symbolic or ritual purpose that has been lost to time? Scholars debate, experiment, and theorize, yet no definitive conclusion has been reached. Its very existence challenges assumptions about the timeline of technological development, hinting that ancient peoples may have understood principles that modern society only began to systematically explore thousands of years later. In the calm of reflection, this uncertainty transforms into wonder, allowing the mind to drift across the possibilities of what might have been. Equally intriguing are the metal objects unearthed from various archaeological sites, often shaped with astonishing precision. Some, such as small gears and interlocking pieces from ancient civilizations, suggest an understanding of mechanics that seems anachronistic. How were these objects created without modern tools, and for what purpose? Were they practical devices, ceremonial objects, or exercises in mathematical and artistic expression? The questions linger like a gentle hum in the mind, not demanding immediate resolution, but instead encouraging a contemplative engagement with the ingenuity of the past. Each object becomes a portal into a world where human creativity and curiosity were already reaching into realms we are only beginning to explore. Even stone artifacts can challenge our understanding of what ancient civilizations were capable of. Certain perfectly shaped and polished stones, found in sites across the globe, seem to have been worked with techniques that remain mysterious. The precision with which some stones fit together, forming structures without mortar, raises questions about the tools, measurements, and techniques employed. At times, the sophistication of these artifacts appears so advanced that it blurs the line between natural skill, painstaking labor, and knowledge that has since been lost. In the quiet contemplation of these creations, we sense the patient hands of artisans long gone, crafting objects that would endure centuries, silently communicating their expertise across time. Some artifacts are remarkable for their apparent understanding of mathematics, geometry, and engineering. Small, intricate carvings, such as those depicting astronomical knowledge or complex patterns, suggest a level of intellectual sophistication that modern observers often find surprising. These creations imply that the ancient mind was capable of abstraction, calculation, and systematic thought, and that the transmission of knowledge may have been far more advanced than the physical evidence alone can convey. The beauty of these artifacts lies not only in their craftsmanship, but also in the quiet realization that human ingenuity has always been intertwined with curiosity and exploration, no matter the era or location. The Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece, exemplifies the astonishing complexity of ancient devices. This ancient analog computer, designed to predict astronomical positions and eclipses, demonstrates an extraordinary understanding of gears, cycles, and celestial mechanics. Though it dates back over 2,000 years, it challenges assumptions about the capabilities of civilizations we often regard as primitive by modern standards. The more we study such objects, the more apparent it becomes that the ancient world may have had pockets of knowledge that rivaled or even exceeded certain aspects of contemporary science. Yet, the specifics of how such devices were constructed and used remain partially obscured, leaving a lingering sense of awe and mystery. Other enigmatic artifacts include the small, intricately carved object from South America, Africa, and Asia, which often display a combination of artistry and technical sophistication. Some depict animals or human forms with surprising realism, while others carry abstract designs or patterns that remain undeciphered. Their purposes, whether practical, ceremonial, symbolic, or educational, are often unknown. What unites them is the quiet testimony they provide. Human beings, thousands of years ago, were capable of remarkable precision, insight, and imagination, leaving objects that speak across centuries. In observing these creations, one is drawn into a dialogue with the past, a reflective exchange between curiosity and time. The mystery deepens when considering artifacts whose context is equally puzzling. Objects sometimes appear far from where we would expect, suggesting trade networks, cultural exchanges, or movements of knowledge that challenge our understanding of ancient connectivity. A tool from one region may echo the design of a distant culture, hinting at interaction, influence, or independent innovation that has since been forgotten. The global pattern of such artifacts paints a picture of a world in which human knowledge, creativity, and experimentation were far more interconnected and sophisticated than conventional timelines suggest. The mind is invited to wander slowly across these possibilities, tracing the threads of human ingenuity across continents and centuries. Some of the most captivating artifacts are those that defy explanation entirely, resisting any simple categorization. The small, intricately carved out-of-place objects found in various archaeological sites leave experts scratching their heads. Are they symbolic, functional, or did they serve an unknown technological purpose? Their precision, material, and design hint at a sophistication that seems startling given their apparent age. Yet, their presence is undeniable, a quiet assertion that human beings have long been capable of creating objects that straddle the line between the practical and the mysterious, the understood and the unknowable. What is perhaps most striking about these advanced artifacts is the contrast they create with the societies that produce them. In many cases, surrounding structures, tools, and daily implements suggest a level of technology far more modest than the sophistication of these objects would imply. This contrast between the ordinary and the extraordinary magnifies the sense of wonder. It invites us to imagine pockets of brilliance within civilizations that were otherwise similar to what we expect of ancient life. Communities of farmers, traders, or artisans who nevertheless achieved feats that challenge our assumptions about the limits of human capability. The result is a delicate tension between familiarity and awe, comfort and curiosity, grounding us while simultaneously expanding the imagination. As we examine these impossibly advanced artifacts, we begin to appreciate the enduring power of mystery. Each object is more than a relic. It is a bridge across time, connecting the present with minds long past. They remind us that human ingenuity has always found expression in both grand monuments and delicate, intricate creations. And while science and scholarship may offer theories, there remains a quiet, enduring space for wonder. These objects do not demand answers. They invite contemplation, reflection, and reverence for the vast scope of human creativity. Ultimately, the artifacts we encounter are a testament to the complexity, resourcefulness, and vision of our ancestors. They whisper of skills and knowledge that may have been lost, intentionally concealed, or simply forgotten with the passage of time. They invite a meditative curiosity, encouraging us to consider the possibilities rather than insisting upon certainty. In the soft light of imagination, in the calm of a night spent contemplating human history, these objects become more than metal, stone, or clay. They become companions on a journey into the unknown, guiding us gently through a world where the boundaries of past and present, known and mysterious, fade into quiet wonder. Across the world, some of the most awe-inspiring remnants of the ancient past rise not as small artifacts, but as immense monuments that seem to touch the sky. The pyramids of Egypt, with their precise angles and enormous stone blocks, have long fascinated scholars and travelers alike. Their sheer scale alone is enough to elicit a sense of wonder, but it is the precision, the alignment with the cardinal points, the careful consideration of interior chambers, and the interplay of light during solstices that suggests a sophisticated understanding of both geometry and astronomy. Standing before these ancient giants, one cannot help but feel the passage of time pressing gently against the present, a humbling reminder that human ambition has always sought to reach beyond the ordinary. Moving across continents, the ruins of Machu Picchu in the Andes offer a different, yet equally compelling, testament to human ingenuity. Perched high above the Urubamba River, this city of stone appears almost suspended between earth and sky. The precision of the masonry, the clever integration of terraces into the steep mountainside, and the apparent harmony between natural landscape and built environment create a sense of serene balance. Every wall and pathway seems deliberately placed, not merely for function, but as part of a larger vision. As one imagines the people who lived, worked, and worshipped here, it is easy to feel the quiet persistence of a culture that sought harmony with the world around it, even while achieving feats that continue to challenge modern engineers. In Lebanon, the site of Baalbek presents yet another extraordinary example of monumental architecture. Here, massive stones, some weighing over 1,000 tons, sit with remarkable precision. The scale of these constructions dwarfs what most would consider achievable in the ancient world. Yet there they remain, silently testifying to human determination and skill. How are these stones quarried, transported, and placed with such accuracy? Scholars have proposed levers, ramps, and ingenious methods of organization, yet the full answer remains elusive. In the absence of certainty, a gentle sense of awe takes its place, encouraging the mind to wander through possibilities and to contemplate the ambition, resourcefulness, and dedication required to achieve such monumental work. The temples of Angkor in Cambodia, with their intricate carvings and vast stone complexes, also offer a striking glimpse into the capabilities of ancient builders. These structures combine artistry, spirituality, and engineering in a way that is both deliberate and harmonious. As light shifts throughout the day, carvings seem to come alive, and the alignment of certain structures with solar events suggests careful observation and planning. It is not merely the technical skill that is impressive, but the sense of intentionality, of creating spaces that invite awe, contemplation, and a connection to something larger than oneself. In walking through these sites, one senses a rhythm between human creativity and a natural world, a quiet dialogue that has endured across centuries. In South America, the ruins of Tiwanaku stand as another example of monumental achievement. The precision of their stonework, the careful alignment of certain structures with astronomical phenomena, and the sheer scale of their construction suggest knowledge that challenges conventional understanding of ancient capabilities. The stones themselves are cut and fitted with such accuracy that even a thin blade cannot be inserted between them. It is as if the builders were not merely constructing functional spaces, but communicating a deeper understanding, leaving messages etched in stone for future generations to discover and ponder. The quiet beauty of these sites is amplified by their endurance, surviving earthquakes, weathering, and centuries of human activity to speak to us today. The temples of Giza, Angkor, Machu Picchu, Baalbek, and Tiwanaku share a common thread. They reveal the ambition of civilizations to reach beyond the everyday, to create lasting monuments that embody both practical knowledge and spiritual intent. Yet they also share a mystery. While modern science can explain aspects of construction and alignment, there remain questions about the methods, labor, and planning required. Some techniques may be partially understood, others remain speculative, and the absence of complete records leaves a space for imagination. It is in this interplay between the known and the unknown that these monuments capture the mind and spirit, offering a calm but persistent sense of wonder that is ideal for contemplation. The alignment of these structures with celestial bodies, in particular, invites reflection. The way sunlight enters the Great Pyramid's chambers during solstices, or how certain stones in Angkor or Tiwanaku correspond to astronomical positions, demonstrates a deliberate engagement with the cosmos. This knowledge suggests a sophisticated understanding of patterns, cycles, and rhythms beyond the practical necessities of daily life. In contemplating these alignments, one senses a culture attuned not only to survival and construction, but to the broader universe, seeking to harmonize human endeavor with the celestial order. The quiet precision required to achieve such harmony encourages a meditative approach, inviting listeners to drift slowly through thought rather than rushing toward conclusion. Many of these monumental sites also hold spiritual or ceremonial significance. Temples, pyramids, and ceremonial plazas were often designed to guide participants through experiences of awe, reflection, or ritual. Their scale and design were intended to evoke feelings of reverence, connecting the earthly to the divine. In this sense, the monuments are not only feats of engineering, but also instruments of experience, designed to move the mind and spirit as much as to endure the centuries. Considering the care, intention, and creativity required to design such experiences adds another layer to our appreciation, deepening the sense of connection across time. The labor required for such constructions is also worth contemplating. Tens of thousands of people working in concert over decades or even centuries would have been required to quarry, transport, and shape stones, to plan layouts, and to execute precise alignments. The organization, knowledge of materials, and social coordination necessary to accomplish these feats remain impressive even by modern standards. In reflecting on this human effort, one gains a profound appreciation not only for the technical skill involved, but also for the perseverance, patience, and vision required to create structures meant to stand far beyond the lifetimes of their builders. In imagining these ancient monuments, it is also instructive to consider the fragility of human memory. Many civilizations that created such marvels have left behind few written records, and their monuments survive more as silent witnesses than as guides. Stones speak where voices are gone, and their arrangements hint at purposes, beliefs, and knowledge that may never be fully recovered. The combination of permanence and silence creates a tension that encourages thoughtful reflection. We can see the result, we can speculate about methods and intent, yet the full story remains elusive. This interplay of presence and absence, certainty and mystery, invites a meditative curiosity, allowing us to linger gently in thought rather than rush toward explanation. These giants of stone, whether in Egypt, South America, or Southeast Asia, ultimately remind us of the depth and richness of human imagination and skill. They stand as enduring testaments to the ambition, vision, and determination of civilizations that sought to reach beyond the ordinary, to leave marks on the world that would speak across millennia. In the stillness of reflection, they invite the mind to wander across time, connecting past and present in a quiet, contemplative dialogue. Their mystery lies not only in the technical challenges they present, but also in the stories they whisper about human aspiration, creativity, and the eternal desire to touch something greater than ourselves. As we leave the shadow of these monumental works behind, our journey moves naturally toward the more intimate, yet equally mysterious, artifacts and inscriptions that carry the whispers of human thought, ingenuity, and culture across time. The grand scale of temples and monuments gives way to the precise elegance of objects and symbols, revealing that the pursuit of knowledge, expression, and understanding is present in both the monumental and the minute. In the gentle contrast between stone giants and small artifacts, between monumental ambition and delicate craftsmanship, we continue our exploration of ancient mysteries, moving deeper into the past while maintaining a calm, reflective rhythm. Across the ruins of ancient civilizations, one of the most beguiling remnants of human thought is the written word. In some cases, these scripts convey stories, laws, and histories that have been carefully preserved and understood. In other instances, however, inscriptions remain undeciphered, their meanings veiled in mystery, tantalizing glimpses into knowledge that we may never fully grasp. The Voynich manuscript, for example, is a small book filled with intricate drawings of plants, stars, and strange diagrams, accompanied by a language that has resisted the efforts of linguists, cryptographers, and historians for centuries. Its pages seem to pulse with intent, as though they were written not merely to be read, but to preserve ideas, secrets, or knowledge in a form deliberately shielded from comprehension. In contemplating such a manuscript, one senses a dialogue across centuries, where the past reaches toward the present with both invitation and enigma. Linear A, an ancient script from the Minoan civilization of Crete, presents a similar conundrum. While Linear B, its descendant, has been deciphered to reveal administrative records, Linear A remains largely inaccessible, its symbols and syntax resisting understanding. This contrast between what we can decode and what remains hidden emphasizes the delicate balance between knowledge preserved and knowledge lost. It invites reflection on the limits of human understanding, on the ways civilizations communicate, and on the possibility that some knowledge was intended to be understood only by a select few, or perhaps to remain hidden entirely. In this tension, a quiet curiosity emerges, encouraging a contemplative engagement with the past rather than a rush toward explanation. In the Pacific, the Rongorongo script of Easter Island presents another captivating puzzle. Carved into wooden tablets, this script is one of the few known instances of a writing system that developed in complete isolation. Despite centuries of study, its meaning remains elusive, leaving us to wonder about the culture, beliefs, and intentions of the people who created it. The very fact that a society separated from the rest of the world could produce such a complex symbolic system reminds us of the universality of human curiosity and the desire to communicate across time and space. These mysterious scripts are more than puzzles. They are echoes of thought, creativity, and intention preserved in form, reaching across centuries to speak to us in ways we can only partially interpret. Inscriptions are not confined to the written word alone. Symbols carved into stone, metal, and clay often hold meanings layered with cultural, spiritual, or practical significance. Petroglyphs and hieroglyphs, while partially understood in some regions, frequently retain elements that defy interpretation. Patterns, repetitions, and shapes hint at ritual, storytelling, or record-keeping, yet without a Rosetta Stone to guide us, much remains speculative. The very act of attempting to decipher them encourages a slow, reflective engagement with history, asking us to imagine the world of those who carved these marks, the context in which they were created, and the intentions they carried. In this interplay between symbol and meaning, certainty and ambiguity, we encounter a meditative tension that mirrors the rhythm of the night, calm, deliberate, and open to interpretation. Even inscriptions that are partially understood often reveal layers of meaning that challenge our assumptions. Ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, for example, combine elements of phonetics, symbolism, and visual storytelling, creating a multidimensional language that conveys not only information but also aesthetic and spiritual resonance. Similarly, inscriptions from Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, and other early civilizations frequently encode numerical, astronomical, or ritualistic knowledge alongside narrative content. These complex systems suggest that writing was not merely functional, but a sophisticated medium for expressing the interplay of human experience, belief, and understanding. Contemplating these inscriptions encourages a gentle, contemplative curiosity, inviting listeners to consider the depth and sophistication of ancient minds. Some inscriptions also hint at knowledge that appears to be ahead of their time. Diagrams, star charts, and schematics encoded in tablets and manuscripts suggest an understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering that rivals or precedes later scientific developments. The precision with which these concepts are represented indicates careful observation, systematic thought, and the transmission of complex ideas across generations. Yet, because the full meaning is often lost or obscured, we are left in a space of reflection, appreciating the ingenuity and creativity without necessarily grasping every detail. This subtle tension between comprehension and mystery is part of the enduring allure of ancient inscriptions, drawing the mind into a state of calm engagement and imaginative exploration. Many of these mysterious scripts also raise questions about human intention. Were some systems deliberately encoded to be indecipherable, accessible only to initiates or experts within a society? Did some scripts serve as ceremonial or symbolic expressions rather than practical communication? The possibility of intentional secrecy adds a layer of depth to our contemplation, suggesting that knowledge in the ancient world may have been regarded as both powerful and fragile, preserved carefully for specific purposes. In exploring these possibilities, the mind is invited to wander slowly across scenarios, imagining cultures where wisdom was carefully guarded, encoded in symbols, and transmitted through subtle forms. The existence of these scripts underscores the universality of human curiosity and the drive to preserve knowledge. Across continents and millennia, humans have sought to record observations, beliefs, and discoveries. Even when those records elude comprehension, they speak to a shared desire to connect across time. Whether carved into stone, etched onto clay, or written in ink on parchment, these inscriptions act as bridges between the past and the present, encouraging reflection, imagination, and an appreciation for the depth of human ingenuity. In the quiet of contemplation, these undeciphered scripts take on a meditative quality. They do not demand immediate answers or explanations. Instead, they invite a patient, reflective engagement with history, asking us to slow our pace and consider the minds that shaped these symbols. In doing so, we recognize that understanding is not always linear. Some knowledge must be approached with curiosity, imagination, and an openness to wonder. Each inscription becomes a gentle whisper from the past, carrying the presence of those who came before us, their thoughts suspended in time, waiting to meet the observer with patience and quiet intent. These mysterious scripts and inscriptions, with their undeciphered symbols and hidden meanings, also connect to the broader tapestry of ancient discoveries. They remind us that knowledge is not only encoded in grand monuments or intricate artifacts, but also in the subtle, delicate marks humans leave behind. The act of trying to interpret them fosters a deep sense of connection across time, encouraging reflection on both human creativity and the mysteries that endure. They are a quiet testament to the complexity of the ancient mind, preserving ideas, observations, and intentions in forms that continue to challenge, inspire, and captivate. As we move from inscriptions to other forms of ancient expression, we carry with us the sense of quiet mystery and patient curiosity that these symbols inspire. They prepare us to explore maps, fossils, and other evidence that hint at knowledge far beyond what we might expect. In the gentle contrast between what is known and what remains hidden, between clarity and ambiguity, we find a rhythm that is at once calming and engaging, perfect for reflection, study, and contemplation. In this space, the mind drifts comfortably, allowing the mysteries of the past to unfold slowly, inviting wonder without urgency, and encouraging an appreciation for the intricate tapestry of human history. Among the most enigmatic relics of the ancient world are maps, carefully drawn, yet often revealing knowledge that seems far ahead of their time. Maps are intended to guide, to chart known territories, to provide a sense of orientation and understanding. Yet, some ancient maps suggest that our ancestors possessed information about the world that challenges conventional history. Coastlines, mountain ranges, and distant lands are depicted with remarkable accuracy, long before modern surveying tools or exploration could have produced such precision. In contemplating these maps, we encounter the subtle tension between what is known and what is mysterious, a gentle invitation to wonder quietly about the intelligence and knowledge of civilizations long past. The Piri Reis map, created in the early 16th century, is one of the most famous examples. Drawn by the Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis, it contains details of the coastlines of South America and Africa that have been difficult to reconcile with what we understand about exploration at that time. Even more astonishing, some interpretations suggest that parts of the Antarctic coastline appear long before the continent was officially discovered or charted. How could such accurate information have existed centuries before modern expeditions? While some explanations suggest access to older, lost maps or oral knowledge, the full story remains unresolved. The map invites quiet contemplation, encouraging us to drift into imagination and reflection rather than rush toward answers. Similarly, the ancient Chinese maps, preserved on silk and other materials, show an astonishing awareness of distant lands. Rivers, mountains, and settlements are drawn with careful attention to scale and geography, hinting at systematic observation and record-keeping. These maps reveal that early civilizations were not isolated. They were attentive, curious, and engaged in recording their world with meticulous care. The act of mapping, in these cases, becomes more than practical. It is a meditation on space, place, and human understanding, an attempt to impose order and clarity upon the vast unknown. Considering these maps, we are reminded that curiosity and precision are timeless aspects of human nature. Even more mysterious are maps that seem to depict features of the world that were not commonly known for centuries. The possibility that some ancient cartographers had access to knowledge of coastlines, mountains, or polar regions long before conventional exploration is both compelling and puzzling. It suggests a transmission of knowledge that may have been lost, hidden, or misunderstood. The very act of pondering these possibilities encourages a reflective mindset, allowing the imagination to wander across oceans and continents, tracing routes and landscapes that might have been familiar to our ancestors, even if they are hidden from our own historical records. Ancient maps also reveal an intriguing blend of observation and symbolism. They are not merely practical tools. They often convey cultural, spiritual, or cosmological knowledge. Sacred sites, mythological regions, or cosmological symbols are frequently incorporated, indicating that maps were used not only to navigate physical space, but also to understand the universe, the heavens, and humanity's place within it. This layering of practical and symbolic knowledge adds richness and depth, reminding us that our ancestors approached the world with a holistic perspective, blending observation, interpretation, and imagination into a single form. The meticulousness of these maps often highlights the extraordinary skills of their creators. Some display an understanding of latitude and longitude, distance, and proportion that rivals or even exceeds later cartographic methods. Others reveal knowledge of ocean currents, river systems, or geological formations with surprising accuracy. These maps suggest that our ancestors observed the world with patience, care, and precision, combining empirical observation with artistic and symbolic representation. In this quiet pursuit of understanding, we see a reflection of the human desire to make sense of the unknown, to chart what is uncertain, and to bridge the distance between what is seen and what is imagined. What makes these ancient maps especially compelling is the contrast they create with the societies that produce them. While the broader population may have lived relatively simple lives, the sophistication of these cartographic works indicates that knowledge and expertise could flourish in unexpected ways. It suggests that pockets of advanced understanding, careful observation, and methodical recording existed long before what we often consider modern knowledge. The maps themselves become a form of dialogue across time, a gentle invitation to contemplate the intelligence, curiosity, and foresight of those who came before. Some scholars suggest that the most accurate ancient maps may have been compiled from even older sources, including charts, oral knowledge, or perhaps lost technologies. The precise origins remain elusive, and this very uncertainty enhances their allure. They are windows into a past where knowledge was transmitted through means that may no longer exist, leaving only traces of extraordinary insight for us to examine. By considering these possibilities slowly, with patience and attention, we allow ourselves to dwell in the mystery without feeling the need to immediately resolve it. This reflective approach mirrors the rhythm of ancient knowledge itself, careful, deliberate, and infused with wonder. Maps also remind us of the vastness of human curiosity. Even in eras without airplanes, satellites, or advanced instruments, our ancestors sought to understand the expanse of the earth, to navigate and connect with lands beyond their immediate surroundings. Each line, symbol, and annotation represents hours, perhaps years, of observation, calculation, and imagination. In this sense, maps are not merely tools. They are records of inquiry, perseverance, and a human desire to reach beyond what is known. They encourage the mind to drift across seas and continents, to consider the lives of those who traveled, observed, and recorded, and to marvel at their achievements in quiet reflection. Finally, ancient maps evoke a sense of continuity and mystery that resonates deeply with those who seek to understand the past. They show that curiosity, observation, and the desire to preserve knowledge are timeless traits. Even when the full meaning of a map remains obscured, its presence reminds us that our ancestors were engaged in the same pursuit that drives humanity today: a search for understanding, a desire to record, and a wish to connect with the world and with each other across time. In contemplating these maps slowly and gently, one can almost feel the careful hands, the steady eyes, and the thoughtful minds of those who charted the unknown, leaving behind a legacy of both knowledge and wonder. Beneath layers of earth, hidden for millennia, lie traces of life that challenge our understanding of biology and history. Fossils, with their delicate preservation of creatures long extinct, offer glimpses into worlds we can only imagine. Yet, among these remnants are examples that seem to defy the conventional timeline of evolution, prompting both wonder and quiet reflection. From bones of gigantic creatures to fossilized remains that appear unexpectedly advanced or anomalous, these discoveries stir the imagination, suggesting a past far more complex, varied, and mysterious than textbooks often convey. In contemplating them, the mind drifts slowly, exploring possibilities without urgency, attuned to the calm rhythm of ancient life preserved in stone. Consider the discovery of massive, prehistoric creatures whose sheer size is almost unimaginable. Fossilized bones of enormous dinosaurs, mammoths, and other giants speak to a world where life existed on a scale that is difficult to fully comprehend today. The intricacy of skeletal structures, the arrangement of vertebrae, and the delicate articulations preserved over millions of years evoke a sense of awe. It is not merely the size, but the precision of these forms, the way each element fits seamlessly into the whole, that inspires reflection on the processes of evolution and adaptation. In observing these remnants, one senses the slow passage of time, the patient work of natural forces, and the extraordinary variety of life that has walked, swum, and flown across our planet. Yet some fossil discoveries are more enigmatic than the mere size of the creatures they represent. Fossils have occasionally been found that suggest species coexisted in ways that challenge conventional timelines or that display anatomical features unexpectedly advanced for their era. These anomalies spark questions that invite thoughtful, meditative consideration rather than immediate solutions. Did these fossils represent transitional forms? Or are they evidence of knowledge lost to time, biological mysteries yet to be understood? The very uncertainty fosters a gentle curiosity, allowing the mind to linger in the space between knowledge and imagination, exploring possibilities across deep time. Fossilized human remains, in particular, offer a profound connection to our own species' history. Skeletons, footprints, and tools associated with early humans provide insight into daily life, social structures, and even spiritual practices. Yet, there are occasional discoveries that seem out of place, remains found in strata that challenge established timelines, or artifacts accompanying bones that appear technologically advanced. These findings do not merely inform us about the past. They invite reflection on the scope of human ingenuity and adaptability, suggesting that the story of humanity is more intricate and layered than we often assume. In their silent presence, fossils become teachers, guiding the mind gently through time and evolution. Some of the most fascinating fossil discoveries involve creatures that do not fit neatly into the frameworks of modern classification. Fossils of hybrid features, unexpected anatomical structures, or organisms that appear extinct in one era but reappear in another evoke a sense of mystery. Each anomaly is a quiet reminder that life, in all its forms, has always been dynamic, unpredictable, and occasionally inexplicable. These fossilized traces do not demand answers. Instead, they invite contemplation, encouraging a slow exploration of patterns, possibilities, and the enduring resilience of life across ages. The locations of certain fossils add another layer of intrigue. Fossilized marine creatures found far inland, or species known from one continent appearing in unexpected regions, hint at geological and environmental shifts that reshape our understanding of ancient worlds. Continental drift, rising and falling sea levels, and massive climatic changes are all part of the story. Yet the precision and preservation of these fossils emphasize the fragility and endurance of life simultaneously. Observing them fosters a quiet sense of reverence for the planet's shifting landscapes and the creatures that adapted to survive, or, in some cases, to vanish altogether. In addition to bones, some fossilized remnants preserve astonishing detail, from skin impressions to feather patterns and even traces of soft tissue. These extraordinary discoveries offer insights not only into anatomy, but into behavior, ecology, and the subtle interplay between organisms and their environments. Fossils of predatory interactions, growth stages, and nesting behaviors provide a window into lives that existed hundreds of millions of years ago. In contemplating these delicate records, one feels both the precision of natural processes and the beauty of life's complexity, preserved as though time itself has paused to allow us a glimpse into the past. The study of ancient biology, when viewed through fossils, also invites reflection on the continuity of life. Patterns of evolution, adaptation, and extinction reveal cycles of resilience and vulnerability. Some species endure for millions of years, while others vanish almost as soon as they emerge. In this ebb and flow, fossils become more than evidence. They are reminders of impermanence, survival, and the enduring mystery of life. They invite a meditative awareness, encouraging contemplation of our place within the long continuum of existence and of the countless forms that have preceded, coexisted with, and followed us. Fossils also provoke a sense of connection across time. When holding a fragment of bone, shell, or tooth, one can almost imagine the living creature that once moved, fed, and breathed on a world both familiar and alien. The sensation is both grounding and expansive, linking the present moment to the vast sweep of natural history. It reminds us that life, in all its forms, is a tapestry woven across eons, with threads that intersect, diverge, and occasionally return in ways we can barely anticipate. The calm reflection on these connections is a gentle meditation, a slow journey through time guided by the enduring traces left in stone. Some fossils, particularly those that appear to challenge established scientific understanding, have inspired both debate and wonder. Reports of unusual formations, enigmatic skeletal structures, or fossils found alongside artifacts suggestive of advanced intelligence encourage the imagination to explore beyond conventional explanations. Even if some claims remain controversial or unverified, they contribute to the broader sense of mystery that surrounds the ancient biological record. In this space, certainty and speculation exist side by side, inviting a slow, reflective engagement with the unknown, encouraging listeners to dwell in curiosity without the urgency for immediate answers. Ultimately, the study of fossils and ancient biology is not just a scientific endeavor. It is an invitation to quiet contemplation. Fossils preserve the memory of life in forms both fragile and enduring, creating a bridge between the present and the deep past. Each discovery, from the largest skeleton to the smallest trace fossil, carries with it lessons about adaptation, change, and the resilience of living beings. In observing these remnants slowly and reflectively, one finds a gentle rhythm that mirrors the cycles of life itself. Birth, growth, decline, extinction, and the quiet persistence of memory through matter. As we leave the fossilized remains behind in our imagination, we carry forward the sense of awe and curiosity that they inspire. The creatures that once roamed, swam, or flew through worlds vastly different from our own remind us of the complexity and wonder of life. They set the stage for our continued exploration of ancient mysteries, leading naturally into discussions of tools, artifacts, and human ingenuity as we continue to traverse the delicate boundary between what is known and what remains unfathomable. In the calm reflection of fossils and ancient biology, the mind is invited to drift, to imagine, and to wonder, fully immersed in the gentle cadence of history and mystery combined. As we pause for a moment, it becomes clear that these ancient wonders are not isolated marvels, but rather part of a vast, interconnected tapestry of human ingenuity and mystery. Across continents, cultures separated by oceans and time have left behind traces of knowledge and artistry that seem almost impossibly advanced. From the colossal stones of South America to the precise alignment of megaliths in Europe, from cryptic manuscripts in distant libraries to intricate maps of uncharted seas, there's a recurring pattern. Human beings reaching far beyond what seems plausible for their time. The calm certainty with which these civilizations built, measured, and recorded their world stands in contrast to the quiet gaps in our understanding. Each discovery, while illuminating a fragment of history, also casts long shadows, reminding us of how much remains hidden, perhaps intentionally, perhaps lost to the slow erosion of time. We can imagine ancient architects pausing atop their works, contemplating the placement of a stone, the angle of a corridor, or the path of a river through a city. Across vast deserts, islands, and valleys, similar contemplations must have taken place, guided by the same curiosity, the same desire to leave a mark that transcends a single lifetime. Even when separated by geography, the echoes of human thought seem strangely harmonious, as though there is a silent, unspoken dialogue connecting all of these creators across millennia. This is not to suggest a single, shared source of knowledge, but rather a shared impulse, a relentless striving toward understanding, expression, and permanence. It is here, in these subtle connections, that we encounter the real magic of ancient discovery. Patterns emerge not in the familiar sense of logic or repetition, but in the quiet resonance of achievement that defies expectation. A structure built with extraordinary precision in one part of the world finds its parallel in another continent, centuries later. A map drawn with uncanny accuracy emerges long before such knowledge was expected. Symbols etched in clay or ink convey meanings we can only partially grasp. These patterns invite us to reflect not just on what was accomplished, but on the nature of human ambition itself. They remind us that the drive to understand, to shape, to leave a legacy is timeless. In these reflections, there is also a profound sense of humility. We are confronted with the limits of our current knowledge and, simultaneously, with the realization that mystery has always been a companion to human progress. Ancient discoveries teach us patience, inviting us to sit with questions that may never be fully answered. They encourage wonder rather than certainty, contemplation rather than completion. In the quiet of night, as we imagine these distant civilizations at work, the mind can wander freely, exploring possibilities, imagining hands shaping stone or parchment, and sensing the weight of centuries in every line, curve, and structure. This gentle pause in our journey through history and mystery is a bridge between what has been revealed and what is yet to be discovered. It allows us to absorb the contrasts we have witnessed, the known and the unknown, the explainable and the inexplicable, the ordinary and the extraordinary. And as we sit with these echoes, we prepare to continue our exploration, venturing into further enigmas that will challenge, inspire, and expand our sense of possibility. The world of ancient knowledge is vast, layered, and often quietly incomprehensible, and in this incomprehensibility lies its enduring beauty. It whispers across time, inviting us to listen, to imagine, and to dream. In the quiet corners of ancient Mesopotamia, beneath layers of earth and centuries of forgotten history, an artifact lies that challenges our understanding of technological progress. Known today as the Baghdad Battery, it is a simple clay vessel containing a copper cylinder and an iron rod. At first glance, it seems almost unremarkable, a fragment of pottery among thousands. Yet, beneath its unassuming exterior lies a mystery that whispers of knowledge far beyond what we might expect from a civilization that existed over 2,000 years ago. The very idea that ancient people may have understood the principles of electrochemistry, even in rudimentary form, stretches our imagination and invites a deeper contemplation of human ingenuity. Visualize the scene. A craftsman in the bustling streets of Parthian-era Mesopotamia, carefully shaping clay with practiced hands, pressing the copper into place, sliding the iron rod within, and sealing it with precision. Perhaps they intended it to generate small currents, to electroplate objects, or to serve some ritual or symbolic purpose. Yet we cannot know for certain. What is certain, however, is the subtle elegance of the design, the careful selection of materials, and the potential sophistication of its application. In this simplicity lies an inherent tension, a contrast between what we expect from the ancients and what they actually accomplished. The artifact invites us to reconsider assumptions about progress, to question the linear narratives of invention that dominate our textbooks. The Baghdad Battery does not exist in isolation. Across time and space, humanity has repeatedly demonstrated the ability to conceptualize and achieve what seems impossible. Yet, unlike the pyramids or the Nazca lines, this is not a monument to display or a work meant to inspire awe in the public eye. It is a tool, a functional object designed for practical use. This distinction is crucial, for it reminds us that ancient technological skill was not limited to spectacle or ceremony. It could be subtle, concealed, and even lost to the passage of centuries. The hum of electricity, so familiar to us today, might once have been a whisper in the hands of a people whose names we barely remember. It is this quiet brilliance that makes the artifact so compelling, for it is both ordinary and extraordinary, mundane and miraculous. We are drawn, as we often are with ancient mysteries, into a reflective dance between what we know and what we cannot yet explain. Modern scientists have attempted to recreate the battery, to understand whether it could have generated measurable electricity and to speculate on its possible uses. Experiments suggest it might have been capable of low-voltage electroplating, perhaps coating small objects in thin layers of metal. Yet no contemporary records exist to confirm this practice, no inscriptions to explain intent or method. The silence of history becomes a companion, urging us to imagine possibilities without ever arriving at certainty. In this space between knowledge and conjecture, fascination grows and curiosity is nourished by the unresolved. Imagine the broader context of life in ancient Mesopotamia. Rivers winding through fertile valleys, cities bustling with traders, scribes recording transactions on clay tablets, and artisans shaping both everyday tools and extraordinary inventions. In the midst of this daily rhythm, the Baghdad Battery emerges as a quiet testament to human innovation, hinting at a sophistication that challenges assumptions about the ancients. It asks us to reconsider what we mean by advanced or primitive, to recognize that intelligence and creativity are not bound by time or technology, but by imagination, observation, and ingenuity. As we meditate on this object, the mind naturally drifts to the philosophical implications. How much knowledge has been lost to history? How many other discoveries, devices, and techniques existed that we will never uncover? The Baghdad Battery is a fragment, yet it opens a window into a civilization's intellect and curiosity. It reminds us that progress is not always linear, and that the achievements of the past may have been far more complex than the stories we have inherited. In the quiet contemplation of this artifact, there is both wonder and humility. Wonder at what humans can create, and humility before the vast expanse of what has been forgotten. The poetic allure of the Baghdad Battery lies in its silence. Unlike grand monuments that shout their presence across millennia, this small device whispers. It does not demand recognition, yet its mere existence challenges our perceptions. In this whisper, we hear echoes of countless hands, countless minds, working, experimenting, observing, and dreaming. It connects us to a lineage of curiosity that stretches back into the depths of history, inviting us to imagine, to speculate, and to marvel at the ingenuity of those who came long before. Here, in the gentle tension between evidence and mystery, we find a meditation on the nature of knowledge itself. And so, we linger in the quiet imagination of ancient Mesopotamia, letting the image of the Baghdad Battery settle like a soft stone in our minds. We feel the subtle hum of possibility, the vibration of what might have been, and the quiet challenge it presents to our assumptions about human capability. It is a reminder that not all of history's lessons are written in grand monuments or monumental events. Some are small, hidden, and almost imperceptible, yet they carry within them the weight of centuries and the echo of minds attuned to discovery. In contemplating this artifact, we are invited to slow down, to listen closely, and to wonder about the ingenuity and creativity of those who shaped the ancient world in ways that still quietly defy our understanding. Deep within the silent halls of history, there exists a book that has confounded scholars, linguists, and cryptographers for centuries. Known today as the Voynich manuscript, it is a slender, handwritten volume filled with symbols, illustrations, and patterns that seem to defy all logic. Its pages are dense with strange botanical drawings, celestial diagrams, and figures that appear almost otherworldly, as if drawn from the imagination of a mind that straddles both reality and dream. The manuscript, carbon dated to the early 15th century, emerged from the obscurity of forgotten libraries and private collections, carrying with it the weight of centuries of mystery. And yet, despite centuries of intense scrutiny and the most advanced attempts at decipherment, its language remains entirely unreadable, leaving only speculation in its wake. This paradox, its physical existence and simultaneous incomprehensibility, is what makes it one of the most haunting enigmas of the ancient world. Imagine opening the manuscript for the first time, the musty scent of aged parchment filling the air and turning its delicate pages. The illustrations captivate the eye. Plants that do not exist in any known botanical record, stars and zodiac signs arranged in patterns both familiar and strangely alien, human figures engaged in rituals that seem both symbolic and cryptic. Each page is meticulously composed, the text flowing in elegant lines, yet its meaning is entirely beyond our grasp. Scholars have compared the writing to a form of cipher, some suspecting it might conceal a lost language, a secret code, or an alchemical treatise known only to its creator. Others have posited that it might be an elaborate hoax, a sophisticated intellectual game meant to intrigue and baffle. Whatever the truth, the manuscript exudes an aura of quiet enigma, whispering across centuries that some knowledge, perhaps, was never meant to be fully understood. As we ponder the Voynich manuscript, there is a sense of connection across time, a bridge between the minds of the past and the present. Who created it? What purpose did it serve? Was it a manual for a long-forgotten practice, a spiritual guide, or an exercise in intellectual curiosity? We will likely never know. Yet, this uncertainty is not a source of frustration, but rather of fascination. The manuscript invites us to sit with ambiguity, to allow the imagination to wander freely between what is possible and what is unknowable. Its enigmatic nature mirrors the broader patterns of human achievement we have explored. The structures, artifacts, and inventions that speak of sophisticated understanding, leaving only questions in their wake. The botanical illustrations, in particular, are a gentle yet persistent challenge to our expectations. Plants that are familiar enough to evoke recognition are blended with forms that seem wholly alien, as if the artist observed the world not just with the eyes but with the mind's eye, blending reality with imaginative insight. The careful attention to detail suggests a level of observation and intention that is meticulous and deliberate, yet the absence of any known botanical counterpart fuels the mystery. Each leaf, stem, and flower is drawn with care, yet the message behind them is encoded in a language that has resisted all attempts at decryption. We are invited to look closer, to examine patterns and repetition, to contemplate whether the manuscript was a record of knowledge or a poetic expression of understanding itself. Beyond the plants, the manuscript's astronomical diagrams offer another layer of intrigue. Stars, constellations, and circular charts are drawn with precision, some seemingly aligned with known celestial formations, others entirely fantastical. The interplay between the familiar and the strange reinforces the tension between what we can identify and what remains elusive. Perhaps the creator observed the heavens and recorded what was known and imagined, blending science and mysticism in a way that feels almost surreal. In this way, the manuscript serves as both a historical artifact and a philosophical reflection, challenging the assumption that knowledge must always be shared clearly to be meaningful. The human figures within the pages add yet another dimension to the mystery. Tiny, ethereal figures, sometimes immersed in what appear to be pools or vessels, sometimes engaged in gestures that resemble ritual or measurement, populate the manuscript. Their expressions, postures, and interactions are frozen in time, enigmatic and silent. They suggest activity, purpose, and narrative, yet they resist interpretation. They remind us that human culture has always been deeply symbolic, that gestures and images can carry layers of meaning beyond literal language. In the Voynich manuscript, these figures seem to echo practices, beliefs, or knowledge that has since vanished, leaving us with an exquisite tension between presence and absence, comprehension and wonder. What is most compelling about the Voynich manuscript is not only its undeciphered text, but the questions it raises about human curiosity, memory, and the preservation of knowledge. It is a reminder that civilizations leave traces of themselves, fragments of insight that may persist for centuries, awaiting discovery by future generations. Yet, these traces are fragile, and understanding them is never guaranteed. The manuscript exemplifies the delicate balance between revealing and concealing, between mastery and mystery. It whispers to us across time that the quest for knowledge is as much about wonder and imagination as it is about answers. In contemplating the Voynich manuscript, we are invited to reflect on the limits of interpretation. Even with modern technology, computational analysis, and collaborative scholarship, the text eludes definitive understanding. Perhaps this is its enduring power. It is a mirror, reflecting both the ingenuity of its creator and the boundless curiosity of those who attempt to unlock it. It reminds us that mystery is not an obstacle, but an essential element of human experience, drawing us into contemplation, speculation, and imagination. In the gentle, meditative act of considering the manuscript, we connect with a mind that existed centuries ago, suspended in a delicate balance between clarity and secrecy, certainty and ambiguity. As our thoughts linger on its faded pages, the manuscript teaches us patience and reverence. It asks us to listen, to observe, and to imagine. Each curve of its text, each swirl of its illustration, invites quiet reflection, a meditation on the mysteries that have persisted through the ages. And though we may never fully comprehend its meaning, we are nonetheless enriched by its presence, carried along by the subtle currents of wonder it evokes. The Voynich manuscript, in its quiet, unyielding mystery, becomes not just an artifact of history, but a companion in contemplation, a guide to the beauty of the unknown, and a gentle reminder that some questions are more precious than the answers we seek. Far out in the vastness of the Pacific Ocean lies a place that seems suspended in time, a small island where the wind whispers through volcanic craters and the waves lap gently against jagged shores. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, is home to the Moai, monolithic statues that rise silently from the earth, guardians of a past both magnificent and mysterious. These stone figures, with their elongated heads, solemn expressions, and monumental presence, appear almost otherworldly, as if they have been waiting for centuries to share their secrets with those who approach with quiet attention. Each statue carries the weight of human ambition, belief, and artistry, and yet, despite the centuries, the full story of their creation, purpose, and transport remains elusive. The contrast between their immovable solidity and the mystery surrounding them creates a tension that is both calming and profoundly intriguing, inviting reflection on the ingenuity of their makers. Imagine walking among the Moai as dawn breaks, the first rays of sunlight casting long, soft shadows across the stone faces. The island is silent except for the gentle rustle of grass and the distant cries of seabirds, and yet the presence of these statues is profoundly commanding. Standing before them, one cannot help but wonder, how did a civilization on such a remote island quarry, carve, and transport hundreds of these enormous stones, some weighing upwards of 70 tons, across miles of rugged terrain without the machinery we rely on today? Scholars have suggested methods involving rolling logs, sledges, or ropes, But none of these theories fully capture the precision, coordination, and sheer labor required. It is this uncertainty, the tension between what we know and what remains unexplained, that gives the Moai their silent power. They are both evidence of human capability and reminders of the limits of our understanding. The Moai are not merely stone. They are expressions of cultural identity and spirituality, embodiments of the ancestors they represent. Each statue was carefully crafted, its features intentionally proportioned, its stance deliberate. They were placed on massive stone platforms called ahu, often facing inland, as if keeping watch over the communities that revered them. Some ahu align with celestial events, suggesting a sophisticated awareness of astronomy, while others are arranged along the coastline, overlooking the vast Pacific with an air of quiet guardianship. The contrast between the permanence of stone and the ephemeral nature of human life is striking. The Moai endure through centuries of wind, rain, and isolation, yet the people who carved them and the society that thrived on the island have largely vanished, leaving only traces in the landscape and in collective memory. As we contemplate their creation, it is essential to consider the human effort behind these remarkable works. Carving a Moai required not only skill and precision, but also a profound understanding of stone and its properties. Artisans would chip and sculpt volcanic tuff, shaping features that were both stylized and deeply symbolic. The process was slow, deliberate, and likely ritualistic, a blending of craft, devotion, and cultural expression. Transporting these statues was an entirely different challenge, demanding coordination, ingenuity, and perhaps even a shared spiritual purpose to motivate communities to work together over extended periods. In this way, the Moai represent not only artistic achievement, but also a testament to the social cohesion and collective ingenuity of Rapa Nui society. The island itself amplifies the mystery. Isolated by thousands of miles of ocean, Rapa Nui presents logistical and existential challenges that make the scale of the Moai even more astonishing. How did such a remote society amass the resources, knowledge, and labor required to produce and move these colossal statues? Some suggest that the islanders possessed techniques and tools now lost to time, insights into physics, leverage, and teamwork that we can only partially reconstruct today. Others propose a symbolic or spiritual dimension, in which the act of building and raising the Moai was as important as the finished statues themselves, a meditation on the connection between humans, ancestors, and the forces of nature. The tension between practical engineering and spiritual purpose underscores the complexity of these ancient achievements, inviting contemplation rather than simple explanation. Beyond the questions of logistics, the Moai evoke a profound emotional resonance. Standing silently among the statues, one is struck by the stillness, the sense of time stretching across centuries, and the enduring presence of human creativity. The figure's calm, watchful expressions invite meditation on permanence, impermanence, and the traces we leave behind. They remind us that human ambition can produce works that endure far beyond the lifespan of any individual. Yet the meanings of those works are often layered, subtle, and partially hidden. There's a quiet poetry in this tension, a rhythm that mirrors the ebb and flow of human history itself. Creation, endurance, mystery, and reflection. The story of the Moai also carries lessons in humility. Societies rise and fall, technologies advance and are forgotten, yet some achievements continue to inspire and challenge us. The Moai are both an invitation and a mirror. They invite us to explore the capabilities of ancient humans and mirror our own desire to understand, to question, and to seek meaning in the world around us. In their presence, we are reminded that mastery does not always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes it waits patiently, silently, in stone, awaiting those who approach with curiosity and respect. They are monuments not only to the past, but to the enduring capacity of human imagination, a reminder that mystery can coexist with skill and wonder with understanding. As we leave the Moai behind in our imagination, the island recedes into the distance, and yet its echoes remain. The statue's quiet gaze lingers, a testament to what humans can achieve when vision, determination, and belief converge. They teach us that knowledge is not always linear, that discovery is not always immediate, and that some truths may remain partially hidden, leaving room for contemplation, reflection, and wonder. The Moai are more than relics. They are companions in thought, guiding us through a meditation on history, ingenuity, and the mysteries that endure when civilizations vanish into the folds of time. In their enduring silence, they invite us to slow down, to listen, and to marvel at the extraordinary legacy of human endeavor, waiting patiently to be understood, not fully perhaps, but profoundly felt. Across the span of centuries, human curiosity has always reached beyond immediate horizons, seeking to chart the unknown, to understand the contours of a world too vast to behold from any single vantage point. Ancient maps, meticulously drawn on parchment, animal skin, or vellum, provide a window into the minds of explorers who dare to envision lands far beyond their own shores. Among these, the Piri Reis map, drawn in the early 16th century by an Ottoman admiral and cartographer, stands as a remarkable testament to both observation and imagination. It depicts coastlines with astonishing accuracy, including stretches of South America and even hints of Antarctic regions centuries before formal discovery. Such maps challenge the conventional understanding of historical navigation and geography, hinting at knowledge that may have been acquired, preserved, or transmitted through mysterious channels now lost to time. Imagine a scholar of the past, quill in hand, tracing the contours of continents with painstaking care. The process of map-making in an era without satellite imagery or modern surveying tools demanded not only acute observation, but a synthesis of travelers' accounts, oral traditions, and prior maps that had survived the fragile journey of centuries. Each line, each curve, and each annotation reflects a deep engagement with the known world, but also a courageous leap into the unknown. The juxtaposition of accuracy and conjecture on these maps creates a tension that fascinates the modern mind. How did civilizations acquire such knowledge? How did they reconcile incomplete information with the desire for precision? The answer remains partly obscured, leaving us to contemplate the limits of human ingenuity across time. Beyond the Piri Reis map, numerous other examples hint at a sophisticated understanding of geography and astronomy in civilizations across the globe. Ancient Chinese maps, Babylonian star charts, and the portolan charts of medieval Europe each reveal not only the shape of lands and seas, but also the intellectual ambition of their creators. These maps are more than navigational aids. They are expressions of a worldview, a framework through which humans sought to make sense of the vast, interconnected planet they inhabited. Some maps contain elements that appear impossible for their time, aligning with coastlines or celestial bodies in ways that suggest knowledge far beyond what we assume. They remind us that the past is often more complex, more nuanced, and more inventive than the simple narratives of progress we inherit from textbooks. In examining these ancient maps, one cannot help but reflect on the process of translating observation into representation. To draw a world that has never been fully seen requires not only intelligence, but imagination. Cartographers synthesize reports from sailors, merchants, and explorers, often encountering conflicting accounts, gaps, and contradictions. They were tasked with creating a coherent vision from fragments, translating the chaos of the natural world into a readable and useful form. This act of creation parallels other ancient achievements. It is a demonstration of both technical skill and conceptual foresight. The maps become a meditation on the human capacity to construct order from uncertainty, a visual expression of curiosity and ingenuity. Some of the most intriguing features of these ancient maps are the areas that appear almost impossibly accurate, given the tools available at the time. Coastlines are drawn with remarkable precision, Mountains and rivers are depicted with careful attention, and sometimes even ocean currents or hazards are noted. These details prompt speculation. How did cartographers acquire such exact information? Were there lost voyages, secret knowledge passed among select individuals, or perhaps insights derived from careful observation of natural phenomena? Each possibility opens a door into the mysteries of human exploration, reminding us that knowledge has always been pursued with dedication, creativity, and sometimes secrecy. The maps are silent witnesses, holding fragments of a story we may never fully reconstruct, yet inviting us to imagine the world as our ancestors envisioned it. The poetic allure of these maps lies not only in their precision, but in their ability to connect the observer across time. When we look upon a medieval or Renaissance chart, we are not merely studying lines and symbols. We are glimpsing the thoughts, fears, ambitions, and dreams of those who made them. Each coastline traced by a quill, each notation in the margin, is an act of communication across centuries. The maps invite us into a dialogue with the past, a quiet conversation about the human desire to understand, to traverse, and to document. There is a calm, almost meditative rhythm to this process, a rhythm that mirrors the movement of explorers across oceans and the slow accumulation of knowledge over generations. Moreover, these maps remind us that knowledge is never static. It is always provisional, expanding, and evolving. Ancient cartographers worked with the best information available, yet they often left space for speculation, imagination, or correction. The gaps, errors, and mysteries on these maps are not failures but invitations to inquiry, prompting questions that continue to resonate today. What lands lay undiscovered? What knowledge was transmitted and then lost? How did cultures separated by vast distances arrive at overlapping or complementary understandings of geography? Each map carries within it both certainty and ambiguity, fact and conjecture, creating a delicate interplay that captivates the mind and encourages reflection. As we imagine the process of charting the world, the observer can almost hear the quiet scratching of quills, the rustle of parchment, and the contemplative sighs of those who labored to make sense of the unknown. The maps become portals to a broader meditation on human curiosity and ambition. They ask us to consider not only what is known, but also the mysteries that persist, the questions that remain unanswered, and the imagination required to fill the gaps. In this gentle interplay between discovery and mystery, the maps resonate with all the other ancient achievements we have explored, from monumental statues to enigmatic manuscripts. They are reminders that knowledge is both tangible and ephemeral, precise yet elusive, a delicate balance that invites contemplation and wonder. Finally, ancient maps carry a subtle philosophical lesson. The world is far larger, stranger, and more interconnected than any single observer can perceive. They encourage humility, curiosity, and reflection, demonstrating that the pursuit of understanding is a journey rather than a destination. Each map, with its intricate lines and mysterious accuracies, is a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring desire to connect with what lies beyond our immediate perception. As we trace these cartographic wonders in our imagination, we are invited to wander alongside explorers, to feel the thrill of discovery, and to appreciate the delicate dance between knowledge and mystery that has shaped human history across the ages. As we pause once more, the discoveries we have journeyed through begin to ripple together like quiet echoes across time. From the colossal stones of Puma Punku to the cryptic symbols of the Voynich manuscript, from the solitary moai of Easter Island to the delicate lines of ancient maps, there is a pattern that emerges, a testament to human curiosity, ingenuity, and the persistent pursuit of understanding. Each achievement is a whisper from the past, a reminder that civilizations, long vanished or obscured by history, were capable of marvels that continue to inspire awe. The contrast between what we know and what remains a mystery creates a gentle tension, an invitation to linger in contemplation, to appreciate the delicate interplay between knowledge and imagination. In these echoes, there's a rhythm that transcends geography and time. Civilizations separated by oceans and centuries arrived at remarkable feats, often without apparent contact, guided by their own observations, tools, and philosophies. The repetition of ingenuity, of massive stones shaped with precision, of maps drawn with extraordinary accuracy, of objects hinting at advanced technology, suggests that the human drive to understand and create is universal. There is a quiet poetry in recognizing that across distant lands and disparate cultures, the impulse to explore, to measure, and to leave a legacy is a shared thread woven into the fabric of humanity. Each ancient marvel becomes a reflection of that thread, a meditation on our shared potential to achieve the extraordinary. This reflective pause also allows us to consider the impermanence of civilizations in contrast with the endurance of their creations. Structures endure long after societies fade. Texts survive even as languages die, and artifacts bear witness to the skill and vision of their creators. The tension between permanence and ephemerality is a quiet, haunting refrain in the story of human history. It teaches patience and humility, reminding us that understanding often comes slowly, and sometimes only partially. As we dwell in this space, we are invited to appreciate not only the accomplishments themselves, but also the lingering mysteries that encourage ongoing curiosity and wonder. In contemplating these patterns, we also confront the limits of our modern assumptions. We are accustomed to thinking of progress as linear, of technology as cumulative, and of knowledge as advancing steadily through time. Yet the ancient discoveries we have explored challenge these assumptions. Devices like the Baghdad battery suggest knowledge that was ahead of its time, while structures like the Moai or Stonehenge reveal engineering precision that continues to perplex experts. Maps drawn centuries before supposed discovery demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of geography that seems almost impossible. In every instance, the past confronts us with a reminder that human ingenuity does not adhere strictly to chronology. It is a constant, flowing undercurrents of thought, observation, and imagination that resurfaces across generations and civilizations. This is a moment to breathe deeply and to reflect on the sheer scale of human potential, unbounded by the era into which one is born. The echoes of past civilizations are not only relics of what once was, they are invitations to contemplate what might still be possible. In this stillness, we recognize that mystery is not a void, but a space for reflection, for creativity, for imagination. It is the quiet companion of discovery, a gentle tension that drives inquiry and fuels wonder. As we trace these echoes in our mind, the ancient and the modern intertwine, reminding us that the pursuit of understanding is both timeless and deeply human. Finally, this pause prepares us for the culmination of our journey through ancient mysteries. By stepping back and observing the patterns, the repetition, and the quiet brilliance of human achievement, we allow the mind to absorb the scope of what has been accomplished. We recognize that history is not merely a record of facts, but a living tapestry of human curiosity, ingenuity, and imagination. The echoes across time invite contemplation, gently guiding us toward a deeper appreciation of the mysteries that endure, the lessons that resonate, and the wonder that persists long after the hands that created these marvels have disappeared. In this quiet reflection, the stage is set for the final section, where we will meditate on the timeless quest for knowledge and the enduring allure of the unknown.